Okay. So, hi
Yeah,
everyone. Welcome to GHRC Talk Show, Know Your Member. So, today we have Arun Velekkat from Workoi, co-founder of Workoi. So, let's start with the interview, Arun. Let's start with your introduction and short introduction about yourself and your background.
sure. Thank you, Ritika. And happy to be here on this conversation. We have been a part of GHRC for a while, and it's a vibrant community of like-minded professionals, practitioners. So it's been great to be a part of this journey for the past couple of months, and looking forward to learning and sharing, having a story of growth with GHRC here. And to give a little bit of background, uh, like I said, my name is Arun Velekkat. I'm one of the co-founders of Workoi. We are a mentoring platform. We believe we are the only mentoring platform that you would need to run highly customized and measurable mentoring programs, whether it be at a workplace, whether it be for a community, or even for an alumni group. So the relevance of mentoring in today's workplace has been evolving, and we believe at this juncture we are rightfully placed to help any of these groups get value out of their mentoring programs. I am an engineering graduate originally. We are a three-member co-founding team, and all three of us were engineering classmates. We are from the class of 2004, so we graduated like a couple of decades before. It's been a while. Yeah. So it's been a while. So we were project mates, and we have been lifelong friends until now. And after engineering, we went on to do different things. So we have worked in diverse industries, diverse geographies, doing different things. And recently we came together to do something which we believe would make our workplaces a better place to be. And after engineering, I went on to do, I had a few years of work experience, and then I did my MBA from University of Leeds. And since then, I've been on marketing and product side, working primarily for very large technology companies. Most recently, I was with VMware, leading a global technology and operations team. It was a fairly large size team with footprint in India, Costa Rica, and the US. And our CEO and co-founder Vimal, who was the main person instrumental for bringing us all together and starting this journey, he uh, he is an IIMK alum, and after his MBA, he has been largely in business and strategy roles. He has traveled to more than 50 countries building business for his previous employers. He is an avid reader and a culture aficionado. And we, along with our third co-founder, whose name is also Arun, so we convinced him to go with his initials, AGV. AGV heads technology, and we are a very lean startup, and we've been building up this platform from scratch. And our primary focus has been around mentoring, workplace mentoring. Having said that, we have a larger vision around building an employee experience suite, and we believe of all the pillars which we have envisioned, mentoring is where we could start with, because that's what most people understand, most organizations understand, and it's a need of the hour. So yeah, that's how we started.
Okay. What was the main inspiration behind this? And what is that one special thing that you thought you would want to start the Workoi, and how long it's been here in market?
Interesting question. The first one, the inspiration behind it. So I was with VMware when the seeds of this conversation started, and Vimal had just returned from UK at that time. He was trying to build a startup in UK in London, but then that's when the pandemic hit, and what he had thought of, it could not take off because of all the lockdowns and the way the world changed, right? The world, in fact, has been changing since then. Um, so he returned, and we used to have all these conversations, and people, culture, there are a lot of things which we have been discussing for many years now, from our engineering days until now. And he came up with this idea of building something. He has been a mentor for young grads for quite some time now. he would have mentored maybe 750, 800 new grads until now. So he said, there is this system which has been working for new grads who are entering workforces. And I, working with my experience of working with the likes of VMware and Oracle, had this experience that along with all these hygiene factors that you have in that you want as an employee at a workplace, like fairly decent salary, opportunities to get promoted, other fun aspects and all that, right, which happens at workplace. That alone, even for a good employer, that alone is not sufficient to keep the best of your people. And many a times we have been fortunate, you would also have experienced it, hopefully. All of us would have experienced being in a place where we had great mentors, good mentors who have helped us in our professional journey. But the realization was most of this happens in isolation. There's a lot of serendipity associated with this. We wanted to make mentoring more accessible, more democratic. And one key aspect what Vimal highlighted was while we have all the systems in place for like new grads to be supported when they are moving into transitioning into a workplace, at workplaces, definitely in India and probably globally as well, there is a lot of room for improvement. And that's how we started exploring what can we build. And since we had a lot of experience working in the enterprise space, all three of us have lived, traveled globally. While nothing matches with Vimal's 50 countries, we have also had our share of being in different countries. And we knew that irrespective of cultural language differences, there are a lot of common themes, common problems, common aspirations across the globe, whoever you talk to, right? So and mentoring kept on as a recurring theme. And then we thought, let's build something which would make our workplaces a better place to be in. And then we started building, we did a lot of primary research, read up a lot of secondary research as well. And we figured that employee disengagement is a much bigger problem than we had even imagined. And then we thought of what else can we do? How can we build it into a product which would help in improving the employee engagement, help individuals in their growth journey, and then also unlock all the institutional wisdom that organizations would have gathered across the years while they are building their business. That's how we started. And we the platform in its current shape, we have been building it for about 9, 10 months. It took us some time before we even started building anything. We wanted to ensure that we understood what we are building, whom we are building it for. And then, well, a lot of this could be a hypothesis, right? Now we are in a phase where we are acquiring our early customers, adding more features, functionalities, refining what we have built. So it's that 0 to 1 journey in acquiring new customers, and that's where we are in.
So Workoi is as old as GHRC. Even we started in the month of Jan, Feb. That's when the initial planning started, and the official launch happened on April 6th.
Right.
Yeah, so it's almost similar.
Right.
So
Yeah.
your company is customer centric or client centric?
So I don't know if I fully understood this question, but then let me try to explain it the way.
B2C or B2B is my question.
Oh yeah, we are primarily B2B. We started as a mentoring platform for employers to run mentoring programs for their employees. And both mentees and mentors in the mentoring programs coming from the same organization. But as we evolve, we have also realized that some organizations who are mature, they would have both mentees and mentees within the system. Whereas some of them might be fairly new to this journey. They would want to understand how can mentoring help their employees grow, their organization grow. And if they do not have certain capabilities in-house, they might want to bring in some specialists from elsewhere. So that's something which we are currently working on. But essentially, we talk to people leaders, HR leaders, or leaders who run businesses who understand the pain of keeping the best of their people. Those are the people we talk to. And now we are also exploring other arenas where mentoring is of relevance. For example, the job markets have changed drastically, right? In the past 2, 3 years, we from the phase where we had people leaving every other day, people leaving workforce. Now it's a place where there are fewer jobs available, and especially new grads or people coming into workforces now, they are finding it a little difficult to start their career journey. So one of the areas where this could our platform like ours could make a lot of difference is helping new grads connect with industry leaders, get them a flavor of what's out there, right? Which will help them from a discoverability perspective, as well as ensuring that they hone their skills to be employable. So there are always these connects between academy and the industry, and mentoring, especially when it's enabled by your alum associations or universities, grad connects could help them go a long way, because like I was saying, there are fewer jobs available and we have more and more grads coming into
Right.
like graduating every year. Yeah.
Okay. So, how does Workoi ensure that mentoring programs are impactful and tailored to each organization's need?
So what we have done in building up the platform is we thought of how mentoring has worked for us in our personal experiences. Then we looked at how mentoring programs are currently being run in organizations. So there is a lot of administrative effort that is required to set up a program. Scaling up is a huge challenge because someone has to spend a lot of time, at least one person, trying to see what's working, what's not working, who's coming, who's doing their best, who could need some help, so on and so forth. There are a lot of operational challenges around setting up a program. And the second aspect is, once you have all your participants on board, their journey also becomes a little challenging, especially if it's done ad hoc or outside without any tool or application. Mentors usually have very limited time available. How do we ensure that we make the best out of their time? Mentees would like to meet with the best of the mentors. So we have built in certain aspects into our platform. Like, even if you're running, let's say you are running a mentoring program for new employees coming into your workforce. New meaning they doesn't necessarily have to be new to workplaces. They could be maybe 0 to 3 years of work experience. How do you how do you help them get started? There are all the buddy programs, but then usually what happens with the standard regular buddy programs is 30 days, fantastic. 60 days, it starts flattening. And then by 90 days, the feedback itself is not that great. Uh, so what we have built in is look beyond immediate, what do we say, gratification. Look at connecting mentees and mentors beyond the topics or skills which they are looking at. So even though that's a primary focus on what they are looking at, how can we make recommendations, connect mentees and mentors by looking at their human values, personal interest. Like, we know that even any other relationship that we have, other than the transactional ones, right? We make better connections if we find a value match between the other person. So we have tried to bring in a lot of things which works for us at human level into the platform that we have built. And that's one aspect that helps in ensuring meaningful connections are being built. And we have taken away most of the heavy lifting which is required for programs to be run. And we thought, let's build out a lot of themes, which are like templates, which can be picked up, customized to your organization's needs, because it's not one size fits all. There's a framework which can be customized, making it very specific for your organization and for the themes which you are running. So new employee onboarding is only one part of the mentoring, right? It could be a lateral hire mentoring. Someone who has become a new manager, how do you mentor them? There could be champions in your organizations who have been leading teams for a while now. They would be able to share their personal experiences, help them learn. And diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives. Platforms like us enable a lot of heavy lifting in the operations side to be removed. Women in leadership, women returning to work. So that's one of the bigger themes, right? How do you ensure that our workplaces have a gender parity, and how do you ensure that more women get leadership roles? So there are a lot of these themes which we have seen in our workplaces, things which we have worked, things which have worked, things which have not worked, things which left a lot to be desired to be improved. And our platform, we believe, helps a little bit, like I was saying, in making our workplaces one step better than have how we started them.
What are the major challenges that the companies face during the mentoring session, and how does Workoi helps in that situation?
Um, there are multiple challenges or opportunities to make mentoring programs successful. To start with, new grads or newer faces in workplaces, aspirations have changed, so have apprehensions. When I started my career in 2004, what were considered as good to have, and things which we had not even thought. Mentoring, I don't remember, I cannot even recollect mentoring being a structured conversation at that time. Like I was saying, a lot of this was pure luck, having the places to have good mentors. But now things have changed. Recent studies say that 83% of Gen Z employees say that mentoring makes a significant difference in how they choose an employer. Right, that's one. 63% of employed women, look at mentoring as an opportunity that will help them in their growth journey. So there are all the mentees who are seeking mentorship to help them grow, help them make meaningful connections, get them discovered in workplaces, right? But then on the other side, not a lot of organizations have really solved this part. They know that there's a need of mentoring, but it's like instant gratification. Mentoring programs take some time to show results. A lot of organizations now, in the age of cost cuttings, making the teams lean, a lot of those things which have become more. We hear about all these like restructurings more often these days, right? Uh, Many organizations are looking at immediate results. So there could be an interest for running a workshop or a team building activity this Saturday, but then there might not be a lot of interest in doing something which will give real tangible results over 3 or 6 months, because things have changed, right? But and attending a team dinner today might not really help a lot of people gain a lot from your non-work conversations. Um, and mentoring is one thing which makes a lot of difference that way. So what we have built into the platform are aspects which would help remove friction from the mentoring process and make those mentoring engagements more meaningful. Did I answer your question?
I I did not get it though.
Okay. Could you, what was the last part of the question?
How does Workoi address them? What are the
Sure. Yeah.
challenges? Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the challenges is around scaling up. So by helping automate or remove a lot of heavy lifting from the program facilitation part, setting up a program and running a program on our platform, it takes like 4 simple steps. You pick up a theme, put in basic details, customize your questions, modify the help document if you want to, onboard mentees and mentors, and launch the program. And a lot of other things are done by the program. And then you start looking at who all are coming up, who are onboarding, what are the concerns they are raising, and how you can address them. And we also have enabled the program set up in such a way that if you're an organization who want to closely align with everything that's happening, like if you want to say this mentee has to be mentored by this person, you could do that. Or at the same time, if you want to democratize this more by enabling the mentee to select a mentor who are more relevant to their matches, right? There is a mentee-driven exercise as well. So there are many ways in which a mentee and mentor could get connected, which usually doesn't happen outside of a platform. And From a leadership perspective, it's about at a big picture view, what is the difference that is being made, right? Also build in a self-assessment for mentees and mentors to know where they are in terms of their mentee or mentor journey. And then we have also built in those nudges which will help them become better versions of themselves as better mentors or better mentees. Overall, we have built in a framework which is meant to help mentoring or the mentorship journey frictionless, and while helping organizations see the big from a big picture perspective, what's working and what's not.
And how do you measure the success of mentoring programs on Workoi platform?
So, like I was mentioning earlier, we are building a lot of granularity. Most of this is optional, depending on how structurally tight you want to make the programs or how much you want to keep it a little informal, because we always believe mentoring makes more results when you take away a little of formality or you bring in a little informal element to that one-on-one conversation. So your direct manager being your mentor is probably not the ideal way to be mentored. Then there are a lot of inhibitions in the conversation, right? You are quite apprehensive about sharing a lot of things. And in terms of measuring success, any engagement, so what we call as an engagement on our platform is a one-on-one relationship between a mentor and a mentee for a specific topic. Any engagement starts with an objective. So the mentee would say, starting from the request to the mentor, in this program, for this particular engagement, this is what I would like to achieve. This is even before they have their first conversation. So the mentor would, even before they meet for the first time, mentor would be able to maybe ask a follow-up question or ask them to read up a few things like a preliminary work right before the first conversation. And when they have their very first conversation, mentor would try to understand as much as what mentee wants to achieve. Then the mentor would say, this is how I have understood your objective. The mentee will go back and put that as a goal into the platform. Mentor would say, excuse me, mentor would say, for this engagement, we would need X number of sessions. We will have to meet at this frequency, and let's meet like 4 times or 3 times to meet your goal. Every conversation, there is an active feedback mechanism built in. And it is not just the mentor who's giving the feedback. Mentee also gets an opportunity to give feedback, because sometimes it might just not work, right? So then the mentee would want the program facilitator to know that they need help. So it's like a hand raise saying that certain aspects, these are the aspects which are not working, then they can intervene. So that ensures that the engagement goes successfully forward. And for mentors, after every session, we have built in an action framework where they would be able to say before our next meeting or during the course of our engagement, please work on these aspects. And there's also a shared thoughts, which is more like an asynchronous chat for mentees and mentors to exchange their thoughts. So communication becomes more structured, and there's a lot of accountability for mentees and mentors. We have thought about the confidentiality of a lot of these conversations. So many of these conversations are kept between the mentee and mentor, but then they would be able to go back and check what was agreed upon at each step of the journey. And eventually, at the end of the engagement, mentor would be able to say whether mentee has achieved the goals which they were working towards, whether it has been already completed or if it's something that needs continuous improvement, because not all goals can be achieved in 3 months or 6 months, right? And mentee's feedback also involves for this specific topic, how do I rate this mentor? So there is a gamification which is being built into it to say that for each of these topics, who are the superstar mentors that you have in the organization. So that way, there is that validation that happens for mentors as well. And then you would know in your organization for any given topic who are the most, who are the top rated mentors and who would need some hand holding to improve on their expertise.
Okay, great. So, what type of communication happens? Like, what are the features that you have? The chat provision, call provision, or
So
how does
currently,
communication happen?
what we have built in is certain integrations which would help the chats or video calls or conversations to happen on the platforms which are already used by the organization. We didn't, at this point in time, we didn't want to build in those into our platform directly because we thought that one part of the whole exercise is removing friction, right? So why not? Why do we want to expose them to one more video conferencing tool, right? Let our participants get the best out of what they already use. There are certain other integrations currently being built in. Then the rest of it happens on the platform. Calendars and calendar integrations is to their own calendars, which are used by the organization.
And what trends do you foresee shaping the future of employee mentoring?
Well, this is something which we would want to revisit after a few years to see if my predictions have worked, right? But some of the aspects which I think would happen. So this is our belief based on our conversations with employees who have been with organizations for a long period. People have just joined, grads who are coming into workforce, and a lot of industry trends and a lot of uncertainties which we have been seeing. One is workplaces are changing. So your what used to work before probably is not going to work going forward, right? Even now, like I was saying, so by 2026, 27, one third of workforces are going to be constituted by Gen Z employees. And then already we have a significant disconnect between the thought process, how Gen Zs operate and how your middle level managers operate. Many a times top leadership is not aware of it because they're not directly into these interactions. And middle level managers are trying to understand how do I help the newly joined team member grow up through the ranks. But then many a times, while generation gap was always there, but then there are certain challenges there, right? It is only going to widen. So reverse mentoring as a concept is going to become significantly take up a bigger chunk of conversations. So that's something which senior leaders would also want to be mindful around about, right? Because it's it's while none of this is new, that nuance around being mentored by someone who has less years of work experience is still uh, an inhibition for many people, right? That's one part. And then with the advent of the gig economy, how things are changing, right? There is also a need for situational mentoring. You would want the problems of now to be addressed, not in the long term, but then you have a specific problem now. How can I get it addressed in the immediate term? So that's also paving the way to having more than one mentor, because mentoring ultimately, as you would know, it's different from training and coaching, right? Mentoring relies a lot on your experiences, your own mentor's personal experiences and life journey. So then as a mentee, you would look towards to more than one mentor, depending on the challenge or the problem or the need or want at the workplace which you're trying to address. All these are certain aspects. And then another aspect is probably, until now, probably we were talking more around the power skills or soft skills around mentoring, right? Technical empowerment or enabling is another aspect, because now with AI also coming into the mix, right? It's becoming quite challenging to keep yourself relevant at workplaces, right? Someone who has several years of experience, how do you ensure that you continue to be relevant? And many organizations think it's easier to bring in people with those new skill sets instead of helping people whom you have already understood that you hired them because they're a part, you feel they fit into your culture, they've been giving returning value all these years, but then how do you upskill them? So there are training programs, but then all these valued employees that you have, right? Mentoring could help you get the best out of your people instead of having to spend your HR dollars into talent acquisition. So these are the areas where we forecast mentoring is going to make a lot of difference in the coming quarters and years.
So yeah, thanks for sharing insights. I am done with my questions. Anything else that I've left out and you would want to share?
Um, I think we are good. You have covered during the conversation. We covered most of it. I also highlighted why, because this is something which I wanted to highlight. Uh, there is a little the appetite more in terms of programs, especially on the people side, is to see instant gratification. So you might get a lot of joy from people posting their team dinner or team offsite, but then what we urge people leaders to do is look beyond that to see where the real value lies, right? Because have heart-to-heart conversations with your employees to see where they need support. And this most of this doesn't really require a lot of expertise to come from outside. You have all that institutional wisdom within how to make the best out of it and how you can explore mentoring as one tool or a framework to unlock that. So I would close with that note.
Thank you so much, Arun, for sharing the insight. We'll probably have another session post couple of months, probably with a better topic. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ritika. Thank you.